Hi, so this little tip is to look at room separation lines. So unfortunately, room separation lines are a necessary evil in Revit. Normally what you would do is obviously place a series of walls and place a room within the four walls to create a closing boundary, and obviously that gives you an area. But there are occasions where you don't necessarily have that luxury, so that's where room separations lines come in and they can help you close areas. Although you may have a plan where you don't actually have any external walls, so then again room separation lines can be really valuable for placing down and using as boundaries to close rooms. By default, the HOK template draws room separation lines red. That means that you can easily identify them. Certainly would suggest placing room separation lines on a separate work set. Think of it like a separate layer so we can instantaneously hide them or turn them off. And then finally, if you're using creating stacking and blocking diagrams where you don't want to start placing walls, you can import a DWG. Obviously I would suggest cleaning that DWG up in AutoCAD in the first place, import it into Revit, and then use room separation lines and use the pick line tool, which you can see highlighted on the screen, to pick boundary lines to place rooms, and that will obviously help you calculate area. Okay, so let's look at following up from the PowerPoint slide. What we have here, a simple Revit environment, some black lines that could effectively be an imported DWG. So normally if you just went to rooms up here and room separation lines, you can see that I could obviously just draw a rectangle, and that allows us to place a series of room separation lines, and see how they come out red. If you went to visibility graphics, you would actually, under lines, you'd find a separate category here for room separation lines. So another quick way of disabling them from the view is just to turn it off here, going to visibility graphics. If you just apply that, you can see they've gone. Let's re-enable them, turn them back on again. And imagine the black line work here was an imported DWG. What we could use is the pick line tool to quickly trace around the line work to give us some boundaries to place our rooms. Once we've done that, if we just went to rooms and see how when you just place them they remain closed. So that's again a nice little tip that you can use room separation lines to close boundaries if you're creating stacking and blocking diagrams. So here's another useful tip. When you're designing a layout, it can be really annoying. You've gone around, you've placed all your walls, you've then placed your rooms, and then you start to think, well, actually I need to redesign this layout. So, you know, what you would normally do is you go away and delete the rooms, and let the rooms stay within the database, but it can be a real painful process of having to then place the rooms again. So a really useful tip is to actually generate what I would consider as a parking lot or a grid of room separation lines. So what we'd start off is by drawing some very simple room separation lines. We're able to drag the room into that placeholder, and then once you've redesigned your layout, you can drag them back. So next I'm actually going to show you how you can do that. So now let's look at the parking lot concept that I was talking about, because I don't really want to keep going around and having to just delete all my rooms and then go and replace them. So if you were just redesigning a simple layout, you might consider, well, the best way to do it is generate this parking lot concept. So let's go to room separation lines. We'll draw a rectangle, and we'll crudely subdivide that rectangle. I'm not too worried how many spaces I create, but I just want to use it to drag my rooms from their current location so they remain bounding. So from here, select the room. Notice I've got the cross highlighted in there blue, just to show you how I've done that. If you go to visibility graphics, scroll down to rooms, you see here I have interior fill and the reference highlighted. So it kind of helps you select the rooms. So we'll just come along and move this from this location, and you're going to get a warning message to say that it's effectively moving the room so the tag is still outside. Do we want to move the tag to the room? We'll say yes. I'm going to have to do that one at a time, unfortunately. And we'll just come along here and pick the last one. So we're retaining all the data about this room. So it might be the occupancy data, or you know the type of room it's going to be. We don't want to lose that data. Now come along here, we're going to maybe redesign our layout, and I'll crudely put some additional walls in. So maybe you come along here and want to say actually it needs to go like this here. And they're going to fundamentally change the shape of the room down here. So if we go to an arc, and we'll make it a tangent arc, and then we'll divide the room. Okay, so having done that, remembering the order that you place the rooms, we can drag them back to their correct location without again losing any of the data. And we'll pick this one here, move it back, and finally we'll move that one there. So we can then delete the room separation lines. We don't need those anymore. We'll go back to visibility graphics, and we'll come down, and under rooms we'll disable the interior fill and the reference, apply that, and let's just turn our shadows on. So I hope that tip's useful, and we'll speak more next week.